as we know earlier, we will be having a discussion about the company situation today, and I would like Tabina to present our problem.
Okay, Bob. So these are the hard copies that I want everyone to have. Hold on. Hello, I'm in the middle of a presentation. Wait. Oh my God. Okay. Wait. I'll come there as soon as possible. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Excuse me, sir. I feel like I should go to the hospital right now.
What? In the middle of your presentation?
My mom just got sick. Sorry.
You know that I'm not talking to you. Where's your respect? I already give my time for you. Now just wait.
Stop! This meeting is not supposed to be like this. That was an example of a leader without self-awareness and emotional intelligence.
What? Me?
Of course, who else? You're not even listening to me. You're really bad at this. Let me tell you then. You are violating what it is called as emotional intelligence as a leader. Emotional intelligence is emotional and social knowledge and the ability to be aware of yourself and others. As a leader, you need to be able to understand and relate to others. Emotional intelligence is divided into 3 aspects. The first one, appraisal and expression of emotion to ourselves verbally and non-verbally, and to others through empathy. The second one is regulation of emotion in self and in others. The third one is utilization of emotion, which includes creative thinking, motivation, redirected attention, and flexible planning. Next up is emotional intelligence, domains, and competencies. The first domain of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness is reading one's own emotion and recognizing their impact, using gut sense to guide decisions. And the second one is accurate self-assessment, which means knowing one's strengths and limits. And the third one is self-confidence, which is a sound sense of one's self-worth and capabilities. The second domain of emotional intelligence is self-management. There are 6 aspects of self-management, which includes first, emotional self-control, keeping disruptive emotions and impulses under control. The second one is transparency, which is displaying honesty and integrity. The third one is adaptability, which is flexibility in adapting to changing situations or overcoming obstacles. The fourth one is achievement, or the drive to improve performance to meet inner standards of excellence. The fifth one is initiative, which is readiness to act and seize opportunities. And the sixth one is optimism, which means seeing the upside in events. The third emotional intelligence domain is social awareness, which includes empathy, organizational awareness. Third one is service, or recognizing and meeting follower, client, or customer needs. And the last one is relationship management. And lastly, you can also increase your self-awareness by understanding yourself and ask questions like, what am I feeling right now? Or what do I want? How am I acting?
Okay, so Abby, I'm pointing this question to you. What did you feel before?
I feel angry.
Okay, then what should you do if you feel angry?
I should express my feelings by being mad at people.
Abby, you should have calmed yourself down, Abby. Do you know what MBTI is?
MBTI, I have heard it somewhere.
That's also another way to know yourself better. Tell me what you know about it.
So, the MBTI states that a person's individual personality type remains fairly consistent over time, even though external factors can alter a person's responses slightly when taking the MBTI. The MBTI consists of 4 dichotomies in 16 combinations. The dichotomies are extrovert and introvert, which indicates how we are energized. Sensing and intuitive, which suggests how we take in information and interpret or understand the world. Thinking and feeling, which shows how we tend to make decisions. And judging and perceiving, which suggests our approach to life and work. A person's personality could be a combination of those 4 dichotomies. For example, ASTG or INFP. Those combinations determine a person's personality type. A thing that should be in mind is that no type of personality is better than the other. It just makes them different. Here are the commonly used descriptors for each type of dichotomies. There are also values of knowing the MBTI personality types. Knowing our colleague's MBTI could help us to know how to work with them effectively, either as a partner, as a superior, or as a subordinate. With this knowledge, we can approach and respond to a person as suitable to their personality. For teams, if we see a group of individuals who are not collaborating and seem to prefer working apart, we could infer that they are introverts and pair them up for other tasks that are more suitable to them. If the case was two extroverts and one introvert, it's possible that the introvert would not contribute much in the discussion, even though we know they are actually able to communicate good ideas. To overcome this, we could ask directly to the individual with specific requests or questions to push them to say their thoughts. For individuals, using a personality profile can help develop self-awareness and better understand the way to interact with others. As a result, it can contribute to personal development and to the dynamics of the team. But personality profiles do not predict behavior, nor it should be used to label any person or to excuse lack of performance in a specific individual. Emotional intelligence itself is not innate talents but learned abilities, which means that every person could improve their emotional intelligence to become a better communicator. Several experts suggest asking these following questions to rewire your brain for greater emotional intelligence. The first one is, who do you want to be? Imagine yourself as a highly effective leader. What do you see? The second one, who are you now? To see your leadership style as others do, gather 360-degree feedback, especially from peers and subordinates. Identify your weaknesses and strengths. The third one is, how do you get from here to there? Devise a plan for closing the gap between who you are and who you want to be. The fourth one, how do you make change stick? Repeatedly rehearse new behaviors physically and mentally until they are automatic. The fifth one, ask who can help you. Do not try to build your emotional skills alone. Identify others who can help you navigate this difficult process. This approach gives us the opportunity to assess and obtain feedback from others on our strengths and weaknesses, to establish our goals, and to map out a plan to achieve those goals. As discussed in the introduction to this chapter, emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills are closely linked. Emotional intelligence is below the surface in our personalities, and we display it by how we interact with others through our interpersonal skills. There are tens of skills that were perceived the most important by business executives, which is communication, courtesy, flexibility, integrity, interpersonal skills, positive attitude, professionalism, responsibility, teamwork, and work ethic.
I mean, it's great that you know how to express yourself better. But other than that, you haven't shown good nonverbal communication aspects of a leader.
What do you mean?
Your nonverbal communication is also important. The way we dress, walk, carry ourselves plays a big part in communicating as well. There are many categories of nonverbal communications, such as appearances, paralanguage, which is vocal cues that accompany speech, such as volume, kinesics, body movement, oculesics, which is eye movement, proxemics, where you stand or sit in a relation to others, facial expressions such as smiling, frowning, or sneering, olfactics, which is your smell, and lastly, chronomics, the way time is used. These are the way we perceive others and the way others perceive us both directly and indirectly. Other than that, nonverbals can affect our ethos. For example, smiling too often or when inappropriate can make us seem insincere or fake. On the other hand, when we don't smile at all, we can be seen as unapproachable. Some ways we can improve our nonverbal communication is to learn as much as possible about the culture to which you will be interacting. Do not judge someone's actions out of context. Develop an understanding of sensitivity to nonverbal cues. And lastly, assess your own use of nonverbal communications. The next part of a nonverbal communication skill is listening. According to Madeleine Burley Allen in the book Listening, the Forgotten Skill, there are 3 levels of listening. First, empathetic listening, where a person pays close attention and conveys sincere interest to the speaker. Second, hearing words but not really listening, pretending to hear and respond but they are not understanding the speaker's intent. Lastly, listening in spurts. They tune in and out and is probably thinking of something else at the moment. As a leader, it is not only essential to be a good listener, but you want others to see that you are listening. Good listening is not easy, but effective leadership depends on it. Therefore, we should work on our listening skills just as we would any other communication skills.
Do you get it now?
Yes.
So, what you should do is by understanding your emotional intelligence and
Improve your nonverbal communications.
Another point is to understand the MBTI of a person, as it would be beneficial and will help you to work better with other people. Bye!
Bye!
meet you.
Why doesn't she take my handshake?
Oh, it's just, I think in her customs, they don't usually greet people with a handshake.
See, too bad.
Well, let's sit down, everybody. Let's begin business.
A leader needs to have an understanding of and appreciation for cultural diversity and the value that cultural differences hold, as it is one of the key components of emotional intelligence and is essential for leading in today's global and multicultural environment. Diversity and culture are two intricate topics that deserve to be well understood in order to better understand people of different backgrounds. It is important that we not only accept people different from us, but to actually put in the effort to understand how their differences affect them. An example of multinational company that took understanding of culture seriously and in establishing a comprehensive cultural diversity training program that ensures employees recognize the value of cultural differences and avoid misunderstandings is from the iceberg diagram. Developed by the Royal Dutch Shells alongside their CEO, Peter Vosser, the diagram helps identify less known differences and identities that contrast people from one another. To judge someone simply because of their ethnicity or country of origin would be to discriminate against them. Even if you did not mean to, it is easy to assume the personality of someone based on their background. But we must remember that all people are unique and make sure to always keep an open mind. When we are able to understand people's different cultural norms, it'll help us figure out the best way to communicate and work with them to create a better community.
Would you like some pork?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to eat pork in my religion.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, I'm really sorry for my previous action.
Right, it's fine. Everyone makes mistakes.
Oh, look at the time. We should get down to business. Right.
It is important to establish an approach to understand the cultural differences, such as in business communication, as it is crucial in building effective relationships with people from diverse backgrounds. Research. Start by conducting research on the culture you will be communicating with. Learn about their customs, beliefs, values, and communication styles. You can use resources like books, articles, and online forums to gather information. Be mindful of stereotypes. Avoid making assumptions about a culture based on stereotypes or generalizations. Remember that each individual is unique and there may be variations within a culture. Adapt your communication style. Be willing to adapt your communication style to fit the cultural norms of the people you are communicating with. For example, some cultures may prefer indirect communication, while others may prefer direct communication. Practice active listening. When communicating with people from different cultures, it is important to practice active listening. This involves paying attention to nonverbal cues, asking clarifying questions, and acknowledging the speaker's perspective. Show respect. Show respect for the cultural differences of the people you are communicating with. This includes respecting their customs, traditions, and beliefs. Be patient. Communicating across cultural differences can sometimes be challenging, and it may take time to build relationships and understand each other. Be patient and approach communication with an open mind.
So, Safa, how do you feel about my term and condition for our cooperation? It offers more or less mutual benefit for both of us.
It is an interesting offer, but perhaps we could still find more time to discuss and consider things further.
So, it's a deal then.
I apologize for the clarity of my reply. Let me clarify. What I mean is that we should discuss further, as I am so unsure. We should continue to find better terms and conditions to increase our mutual benefit.
I thought that you said it was an interesting offer.
Mas bro, I'm sorry if my reply has given you the wrong impression, but I want to review the terms and conditions that you have offered.
I understand. The desire to be meticulous, the time is of the essence, and I don't have much of it.
Context is anything that surrounds and accompanies communication and gives meaning to it. Countries can be arrayed on a spectrum ranging from a low to high context. High context cultures rely extensively on interpersonal relationships to understand meaning and place less importance on verbal messages and more on non-verbal actions such as tone, gestures, and facial expressions. These cultures emphasize trust, intuition, and the importance of getting to know people better. These cultures tend to be community-oriented, valuing group harmony and consensus over individual accomplishments. Saving face is considered to be important in these cultures. Their communication style tends to be indirect. Indirect communication is used in cultures valuing harmony and togetherness of the community. They will avoid confrontations and often state their opinions in an indirect way that may confuse people coming from direct cultures. Example of this is replacing the word no with maybe or perhaps. Agreements can take much longer than in low context culture, which tends to be more impatient and bottom line driven. Low context cultures tend to use a more direct form of communication, as these cultures emphasize independence and individuality. They are forthright, appearing confident and authoritative. Their directness may be interpreted by some as being too aggressive, as when they state their opinions, it usually can be said without any qualifications. Those used to a more indirect style may see the direct communication as rude. We should keep in mind that in a diverse and multicultural environment, encountering and communicating with people of cultural differences requires proper care, as the differences in cultural backgrounds can affect the way a person behaves and their communication style.
Time. There are two viewpoints of time in the discussion of cultural framework. The first one being polychronic. Living the time is a state of being consisting of many events occurring at once. Time is open-ended and flexible, and people are more important than promise and schedule. And then the second one is monochronic. Living time is linear, is divisible, and consists of one event at a time. Time is a commodity and is meant to be measured and managed, conserved or wasted, spent wisely or foolishly. Events are scheduled sequentially, one at a time, and this schedule takes precedence over relationship and people. High context culture tend to be polychronic, and low context culture tend to be monochronic. Language. It has been described as the central influence on culture and one of the most highly charged symbols of a culture or a nation. Language helps shape both perception and thought, as according to Edward T. Hall. Culture is language, and language is culture. Power. Culture can differ tremendously in how they view power and equality. Some believe in strict hierarchies, with clear distinction between level and formalized respect for people at the higher level of an organization. Others see as everyone as equal, and though a title may command some respect, it is not as rigidly observed as in hierarchical structure. Some cultures respect age, others do not. Some think education demand respect, while others see it as simply another item for a resume. Title and position can matter more in some culture than they do for other culture. Some culture view the possession of power by relatively few people, and the resultant inequality as the norm. Such culture have high distance value. Other cultures see power as spread fairly, evenly across all members and believe all people are equal, resulting in low distance value.
Collectivism versus individualism. Individualism pertains to societies in which the ties between individuals are loose. Everyone is expected to look after himself or herself and be his or her immediate family. Collectivism, at its opposite, pertains to societies in which people from birth onwards are integrated into strong, cohesive in-groups which throughout people's lifetime continue to care for and protect them in exchange for their unquestioning loyalty. Spirituality and tradition. The traditional or secular rational values dimension reflects the contrast between societies in which religion is very important and those in which it is not. Societies near the traditional pole emphasize the importance of parent-child relationships and deference to authority, aligned with absolute standards and traditional family values.
The negotiation is good, but I think we should still find some time to, find better terms and agreement.
Okay, do you understand that my time is really important? I think you just waste my time with you like pending all of this stuff. I think you need to make the decision right now.
I understand that your time is important, but sir, please, we must remember that our companies are both very important to us, and we need to find better mutual understandings of
Yes, but the problem is, when will we find that mutual agreement if we cannot even find the equilibrium right now?
Well, see, that's exactly why I want to find more time to wait until we can find better agreements. Because even right now, while we still have time, we still can't find a ground.
Yes, that's true, but if you're
Enough. This is too much. Awful, all of you. I know I'm supposed to be the mediator between these business deal, but both of you should consider the differences that you have, as both of you are coming from different cultural backgrounds. We should be able to respect the importance of both cultural differences, beliefs, and values. But also, you gotta keep in mind that you should be able to find a middle ground to reach the agreement. Now, all right? Let's cool down a bit. Leo, if this meeting is important as you consider it to be enough for your time, you should give time for it, to grow, develop, and not just make everything quickly and directly, And Safa, maybe you should consider people's time more, because maybe you is a busy person and have a busy schedule, so it could lead to some trouble. So let's respect each other from now on.
We should keep in mind that during discussions of cultural differences and classifications, we should avoid stereotyping. The distinctions of all variables describes characteristics that are typical of a group but will not necessarily be found in each member of a group.
The goal is to make us more sensitive towards some of the deeply embedded beliefs and values that may affect how we communicate and interpret meaning intended by others in their communications to us. It is to make us more open and flexible, being able to better connect and communicate across different cultures.
As a leader, it is essential for us to emphasize the importance of understanding and appreciating cultural diversity in effective communication and connection across different cultures.
In conclusion, cultural competence is essential for leadership communication, and the discussed approaches provide useful tools for analyzing audiences and developing communication strategies.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you.